Over the last year being a part of Ignite, I've realized 3 key points that I've learned that I feel so necessary to share with you. And each point happened through turning points in my life. The first was back when I was at school at University of Hawaii, because everything was running smooth. I just got admitted to the business school early as a junior. I was doing great in sports as a D1 athlete. I had all types of friends. I was passing every one of my classes with flying colors. I was going to the beach on my free time, having a blast. And come Christmas time, I went home for our family Christmas party. And as I was socializing with family and seeing people, at one point in the night, my dad needed me for something. And he started looking around and couldn't find me anywhere. He looked in the kitchen, looked in the living room, and finally he went to my bedroom, and there I was sitting there fully in tears by myself. And obviously confused, he went to me and said, "Darik, what's wrong? Why are you upset? Everything's going well, right? School's good, life's good. You okay?" And I looked at him and I said, "I don't know what it is, but something is just missing. It's this void that I can't fill. I have no idea why I'm upset, but I don't know how to fill it. And I know there's something more, even if I don't know what." I'll never forget what he said. He said, "Sometimes you don't need to know what that void is, but if you follow your heart long enough, it will come to you." 10 months later it came, and I reached a new turning point. I had heard about a network marketing business that I wanted to get myself involved in, and I realized that in order to really take my future to the next level, I had to take a jump and move all the way from beautiful Hawaii to Eugene, Oregon to put my full-time efforts in this business. So once again, here I was, driving from Seattle to Oregon in December in the pouring down rain, and I pulled up to the house that we leased before anyone else that I was living with got there. And I walk into this home that's not even furnished, by myself, in a location I'd never been in my entire life, with no one around, going, what did I just get myself into? I had just left my perfect life at the beach to venture out to a place I'd never been before with people I kind of knew in terrible weather. And thankfully, when I got there, what we did was something phenomenal. And in the next 6 months, I was able to break records with this company to the point where I was invited to give a keynote at a convention in Las Vegas with some of the other presenters to explain how I was able to create the results that I did over the last 10 months in order to help an audience of 10,000 people hopefully do the same. And this new turning point came where I'm standing behind this huge curtain in Las Vegas, waiting to go on stage with 10,000 people on the other side. And I'm terrified. Because something in my heart told me that if I got on that stage and I told the same story that everyone else told that day of my results and how I did it, it wasn't going to give them nearly as much value as if I told stories of other great leaders who I had learned from the past 10 months that achieved amazing results and shared their stories instead of my own in order to improve these people. So, once again, I find myself calling my dad 5 minutes before I'm going on the stage, and I tell him how I felt. And he told me the same thing he told me when I was sitting in my bedroom. He said, "Follow your heart, do what feels right, and the most will make sense." So I hung up the phone, I get on stage in front of 10,000 people, and I give this speech about all these other great leaders in the world that have done amazing things, and I talk about their stories instead of my own. And thankfully, 10,000 people stand up, the audience loved it, I get these standing ovations, and at that moment, nothing else mattered. I was completely in the present, fully fulfilled. But when I walked off that stage for the next couple months, I lost that spark, and I lost that feeling. And very quickly, what I was doing not only left from a passion standpoint, but when the passion went away and started to go down, so did all my results. And very quickly I'd look in the mirror and I'd feel unfulfilled again, and that empty feeling came. And I reached a new turning point and decided to completely leave the industry that was in and had accumulated success in and try a completely different opportunity. And within a blink of an eye, I found myself in New York City working for a company where I'm selling heating and cooling equipment door to door, 9 hours a day, 6 days a week. Sure, for fulfillment, but honestly, I was doing it just to make some money. And I found myself building a business I wasn't even passionate about just because of this pretense that I could make a lot of money doing it. And I'll never forget this next turning point. And this is where things really shifted for me. I was walking down Bernard Street, and I walked up the porch of a home, and I knocked on the door, and I was going to do my normal pitch like I always do. And as the door opens, I see this gentle, sweet, elderly woman looking at me with this big, beautiful smile. And so I give the pitch that I always give. And after I finish this pitch, this woman looks at me and she says, "Oh, you're so sweet, dear. And I'd love to get some new equipment, but to be honest with you, right now, all of my focus is on recovering from my chemotherapy. But I'd love to invite you in for lunch and maybe get to know your name." So I walk into Agnes's house. We have lunch for 30 minutes. And before I leave, she gives me a huge hug, looks me directly in the eyes and says, "You're going to do great things, and I hope you have a fantastic day, because you matter." And when she shut that door, and I started walking down the stairs of that house, it hit me. And I finally realized why I'd gone through all these different transitions in my life and what these turning points mean. And that's where these 3 key points come into place. And the first thing I realized was through every situation where I experienced discomfort, back when I was sitting on that couch in my room, upset, to when I was in Oregon in a brand new environment, to where I was knocking doors in New York, each discomfortable feeling was an invitation. It was an invitation for me to grow into someone I wasn't before. And so in your life, when things are discomfortable, all you have to do is change your perception as an invite and figure out what that invitation is for. The second thing that I realized was that rather than focusing always about me, I needed to focus on we. When I wanted to speak on stage and not talk about my story and talk about the story of other great leaders to help people, I was not thinking about myself. I was in that we mentality, and that's why I was feeling fulfilled. I was going beyond my own needs to contribute to a deeper and more important level. So in your life, step out of the concept of what's going to be good for you and think of a bigger purpose that's going to serve the we. And the third thing I realized was I was obsessed with the fruit. What I mean by that is, my third key point is that you have to learn to love the process of watering the tree for the sake of just growing the tree. Sometimes in life we're so focused on the results, the money, the fame, the cars, the notoriety, if you will, that we forget about loving the process of watering the tree just for the sake of growing the tree. I got to a point where I was doing something in my life in New York I hated, but I had this idea that somehow it was going to be worth it if I just kept growing the fruit, talking to different people and selling, and I started getting good at it, and the better I got, the more fulfilled I was. But when I realized that my life is not my own life, my life's designed to serve on a bigger scale, that's when I understood to fall in love with the process of giving, and everything else would come around. And when I realized those 3 key points, things changed dramatically, which is shown for me in the last year being a part of Ignite. And so it is.